Section 2.1, Classifying Numbers. We're going to classify numbers into 4 different sets. The first set that we're going to classify it into is the set of whole numbers. Whole numbers is our set of counting numbers starting with 0 going in the positive direction. So it starts as 0, 1, 2, and 3. When you look at whole numbers, there's no opportunity to have fractions or decimals. The negative numbers are also not included in this set. 5, 49, and 980 are all examples of whole numbers. The second set that we're going to look at is the set of integers. Okay, an integer is a number with no fractional part. It includes the whole entire set of whole numbers, but it also includes the negative numbers as well. Integers can be placed into categories as -3, -2, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if you think about it in terms of your counting numbers, it is a set of that includes whole numbers but also can be negative. Examples of integers in this category is -16, -3, 0, 1, and 198 all fall into the category of integers. The third type of category we're going to look at is rational numbers. A rational number is any number that can be put into a fraction with both a integer in the numerator and the denominator. If it can be put as a fraction with the numerator and denominator as fractions, it is placed in the whole rational number category. Examples of rational numbers include 5 over 1, 1/2, 1.75, and -97 over 3. Every integer or whole number can be put as a fraction. For example, if you have the number 7, the number 7 can be put as the fraction 7 over 1, which puts it as a rational number. The fraction 1.75 is also a rational number because it can be put into the fraction 7 over 4. The final set that we're going to talk about is irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are any number that cannot be put into a fraction with a whole integer in both the numerator and denominator. Examples of whole numbers are the square root of 2, pi, square root of 7, square root of 11. All fall in the category of being irrational numbers. Either a number will fall into the rational or irrational category. Let's take a look at an example. What we want to do is we want to categorize the following numbers into one of the quadrants. I have the 4 categories up here at the top, and we want to place each one of the numbers into one of the 4 categories, or as many categories as they fall into. For example, -8 is already completed for you. -8 is not a whole number because it is a negative number and whole numbers cannot be negative. -8 is an integer because it is part of our counting numbers and it is a negative value. -8 is also a rational number because it can be wrote as the fraction -8 over 1, which is putting into the rational category because it is a fraction with both a integer in the numerator and denominator. Now let's try the next couple. Let's take the number 15. 15 falls into the category of whole numbers because it is positive and it is also part of our counting numbers. 15 is also an integer because the set of whole numbers fall inside the set of integers, which classifies it as a whole number. 15 is also a rational number because it can be wrote as a fraction of 15 over 1. The next number we want to look at is the square root of 4. The square root of 4 simplifies to be the number 2. So we want to think of the number 2 Is the square root of 4 fall into which one of these categories? Is it a whole number? Yes, the square root of 4 is a whole number because 2 is part of our counting numbers. Is it an integer? It is an integer because it is part of the set that falls in that category. Is it a rational number? Absolutely. It is a rational number because we can rewrite it as, so the square root of 4 is a whole number, integer, and a rational number. Let's take a look at 3.5. 3.5 can be wrote as a fraction as 7 over 2. So we want to say, does this 7 over 2 fall into the whole number category? And the answer is no. 7 over 2 is a fraction, which is not a whole number. Is it a integer? No, because it does not fall in that category as part of our counting whole numbers. Is it rational? Absolutely rational because it can be wrote as the fraction of 7 over 2, which puts it into the rational category. Let's take a look at the square root of 7. The square root of 7 is not a whole number, not an integer, and also is not a rational number, but falls into the irrational category. The reason it is an irrational number is because the decimal is non-repeating and goes on forever. This is how we classify numbers into our number system.